And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
A 4X game is a game that includes exploring, expanding, exterminating, and exploiting. This is basically usually they're space games, but they can also be civilization-style games. There are several in the civilization genre, the most famous being Twilight Imperium. And the reason that people don't play them quite as often as many other games is the fact that they're incredibly lengthy. That does not mean they're not good, they're just long. Twilight Imperium can take 6, 7, 8 hours. Well, here we have Pocket Imperium. This is supposed to be a short version of one of those big space epic games, a very fast game. On the box here, this says 45 minutes, which doesn't seem as pocket as you might think, but that's still shorter than other ones, certainly is small size-wise. Let's take a look at it. At the beginning of the game, you're going to place these tiles out here in a pattern. There's 2 different sides to the tiles, and you're always going to have this planet here in the middle. And there's different patterns that you can make. Each player is going to start with 2 ships on a planet of value 1. There's value 1 planets and value 2 planets. And there's also the big planet in the middle of the table. Each player is going to get 3 cards. These cards are Expand, Exterminate, and Explore. What about Exploit, you may ask? Well, that's a phase in the game. The first phase of the game, though, everyone's going to pick a card. You'll pick 2 cards if you're playing 2 players, but let's look at a 3 or more player game right now. You're going to pick a card, and you're going to play that card. And then you're going to pick another card and put a card on top of that. You're going to pick your 3 cards. You're going to play them in whatever order you'd like. Everyone's going to turn over their first card at the same time. Now, what you're going to do is you're going to look at the players to the right and the left of you. If you're playing a 3-player game, you're going to look at all the players. But anyhow, if both players pick the same option as you, you are only going to get to do that option once. If only one person picked it, you get to do it twice. And if no one picked it, you get to do it 3 times. So the more people who pick the same option as you, the less useful it's going to be for you, and the game comes up with some really weird thematic reason as to why. But anyhow, so what do the cards do? Expand is pretty simple. You just get to add ships to a spot where you already have ships. Maybe more ships. The amount of ships you add depends on how many other people next to you played the card. Explore, which is the second card. These cards always go off in order, by the way. Expand always goes first, then Explore, then Exterminate. There's a first player marker that moves around the table in case players play the same card. Explore lets you move a fleet of ships into up to 2 spaces away. So you're going to be moving these fleets around trying to get to other planets. Exterminate lets you attack a planet that no one controls or attack somebody else. When you attack someone else, let's say I have a fleet of 3 here, and I'm attacking green, their fleet is size 2, so they lose both their ships, and I lose 2 of mine. And then that's basically how combat works. Now, at the end of a round, you're going to score. Scoring, each player is going to pick one of the sections of the board to score. So if I was red, I'd pick this section. And this would give red 1 point. 2 points because they control those planets, and would give yellow 1 point. Then each player would pick 1 planet to score. Whoever controls the center planet, they don't get any points, but they can pick 1 more section and score that section. You're going to do this for a certain number of rounds, and at the end of those rounds, you will score 1 final time, and this time this one scores 3 points, and whoever has the most points is the winner. By the way, that center planet is called Tri-Prime. I can't remember why, I always forget that. Also, at the end of a round, if you run out of ships, if you've been totally destroyed, you can bring 2 ships on to a planet and come out. So you're never totally out of the game. And that's basically how it works. Most points is the winner of the game. Points, by the way, are these things here. You can keep track of how many points you have. I'm dreaming today of a game like this where they take out the length and complexities as the big 4X game, but they manage to retain some of the fun. And that's the problem here, is while this game is certainly shorter, it is not really fun at all. It's essentially an abstract game, which is fine, although, again, I feel kind of manipulated because it's like, ooh, a 4X game. It's not a 4X game any more than chess or checkers is a 4X game. Yes, you expand, add more ships, and explore, move the ships, and exterminate, move, and fight with the ships, which is deterministic combat, which is really boring in this particular setting, and exploit, which is getting points. Technically, this is a 4X game, but I can't see anybody who likes Twilight Imperium or Eclipse or the other games of this genre, really, Exodus, Proxima Centauri, really enjoying this, because you're essentially doing the same thing over and over again. Now, the concept is interesting. I like the idea of playing a card, and it's better if other people have played it, even if it doesn't make sense thematically. The only one I did was that when you're producing, if everyone's producing, you're all fighting over the same resources. But if you're moving and everyone's moving, the hyperspace lanes get crowded, and if you're fighting, the apparently defense is higher, whatever. But I do like that idea, playing a card, trying to outthink the other people. That's interesting, kind of almost a rock, paper, scissors aspect. But wow, this game is slow. It's like, here comes a fleet, it's coming towards you, I'm going to blow you up. And then you do. There's no surprises, and the battles are just very bland, because, I attacked you with 4, and you with 3, you lose your 3 ships, I lose 3 of mine, battle over. Wow. And so there's no cuts, there's no clever things. This game is just basically a bland exercise of game mechanisms. And that is where the problem lies, is the fact that the game is just devoid of interesting things happening. And the box says 45 minutes, and 45 minutes is completely accurate, and it's not 45, let's say it's 30 minutes too long. This should be a 15-minute game. But the whole, I'll move, I'll do this, let's score. And I pick a sector to score, and you pick a sector to score. This game reeks of a bunch of mechanisms in a box. And when they were finished, you're like, oh yeah, let's say it's space. Didn't like it. I wanted to, but just did not enjoy this one. That's Pocket Imperium. Dice Tower Judgment, quite boring.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.
Yeah?